Welcome back, YouTubers, to another British Fist Q&A with us, the British Fist. Gotcha. Well, duh, it is a British Fist Q&A, I guess. Mr. Parkin here, sporting another patriotic V-neck, as you guys well know, and this guy sitting next to me is none other than NJ.
What's up?
What's up, indeed? This is Q&A number 149. The two Q&As are different WrestleMania. They counted as 147 and 148. So, getting through a lot of fucking Q&As here, NJ.
And that's the fun thing, but because of how fun they are and how frequently we do them, we are quickly getting to the end of our collection. So please, please, please send in more to keep us going, or things like this will happen. No, let's go.
Yeah, indeed. And also, yeah, like I said, NJ said we do need more questions. And we're back to normal now, so we're back to doing normal Q&As. So ask us any questions you like, really. The WrestleMania Q&As were like a one-off, two-off special that we did, but let's start with @Mark_the_Fish. Some leftover WrestleMania questions here. If you could change one result of any WrestleMania, what one would it be? The streak ending of this year's. Definitely, I would. What about you?
Yes, I just had to stop myself from crying. Have you said that? But mine would also be Cena defeating The Rock. Why not just have The Rock do it again to overcome?
Well, at least that made sense. Like, you had Rock win and then Cena overcome him, and, you know, he was leaving, he was going to be leaving the company. So
redemption, Cena's redemption.
Yeah, so at least that kind of made sense. But the streak ending the way it did after 21 years, or 20 more than that, actually, of building, I still think that was the wrong decision. And
talking about the streak quickly, me and my friend Ross yesterday did a collab video together. The link will be in the description box below.
So the Undertaker streak, I think we both agreed on that one.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. I'm trying to think if there's any other matches that I might change the result of. Maybe this year, Bray Wyatt and John Cena. I'll change the result of that every fucking day of the week.
Any match. A small one, John Cena, Big Show and Edge, when I think John Cena won it and lost it.
Have Edge win it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. One seat and one seat only. What WrestleMania would you be at? Could have been at WrestleMania 1 where it all began. WrestleMania 3 at the Silver Dome.
Yep, Silver Dome.
Could have been at WrestleMania 17, which is our sentimental all-time favourite WrestleMania. 19 would have been a good one to be at. I'd say just for the sentimental value, 17 for me would have been a perfect one to be at.
And a small part of me that is quickly growing would say WrestleMania 30, because that's the last time we're going to be possibly seeing The Undertaker.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you were the last... I mean, at least we got the privilege to say we watched it live. I guess that's one sort of silver lining to it, but to be in the crowd at the time would have been a nice moment. You know, the last of Undertaker's streak.
Lucky you, Cream Crazy, a guy from In the Rope Show. Flip's sake, going there to see
Undertaker. Anything Goes Show, WWE there as well. I think, were they there? I don't know. Maybe if you were there. If you were there, tell us in the comment section below. We want to know if you were the lucky fuckers that actually managed to get it. Terry That Titan. If there's a WrestleMania in the past you wish we were at, which one would it be? Oh, right, okay, we've already answered that.
Yep.
So, answer from the last question, basically. Wrestling Team. Some good questions here. How will this WrestleMania be remembered now? Greatest or worst, or just an average Mania? It will be remembered for the WrestleMania that the streak was broken. That's what it'll be remembered for.
Like we said in our review, even though Daniel Bryan overcame the odds, that's for him, but for the fans, it's going to be Taker, because they grew up with him. He had WrestleMania thing going every year, and now it's gone. Yeah,
I mean, that's so totally true. 10 years down the line, people will remember this WrestleMania 30 for the streak ending, and not for Daniel Bryan winning the belt. I mean, what has got more long-lasting effect? It's the streak, isn't it? Definitely. Does Taker's loss take away the potential moment of Bryan winning the title? You know, a little bit, because obviously that was a massively shocking moment, but at the same time, it didn't really take away from the moment, because, again, it was in the main event of WrestleMania, and it was still a nice moment. It wasn't like a Triple H versus Chris Jericho where it got forgotten, but it will still be remembered in some way for the redemption storyline of Daniel Bryan after 8 months of going up against the Authority. But, it does take away from it a little bit, but not loads. Not like a WrestleMania 18, Rock faced Hogan, and then, no one remembered the main event. Not like WrestleMania 25 when no one really remembers Orton versus Triple H, and everyone remembers Shawn Michaels Undertaker. Not quite that badly, because the moment was still pretty good.
I'll say it was more effective of the night. Like, everyone, when you're watching the show, that's it. But following it, Taker's going to be gone for a couple of months. Daniel Bryan's still going to be there, so he'll be able to continue a story following his win.
Superfan931. Have you gotten used to saying Undertaker is 21-1 at WrestleMania? No. I mean, it's kind of sunk in, but no. It's just difficult, isn't it? Because you just... Going into it, we just had no reason to believe the streak would end. The storyline was shocking. And each time you think about it, you just think, man, that was the way it ended. Like that, 21 wins at WrestleMania, and the one loss you do, which you think would be in a big way at WrestleMania 30, was done like that.
The biggest argument on this, which we can't really fight against very well, is that The Undertaker wanted this. Not us fans, not Vince, apparently.
Well, Vince is the owner of the company and everything goes through him. So essentially, at the end of the day, Vince does make all the decisions. So it is Vince McMahon as much as Undertaker in that sense. But the simple answer to your question is no. Still not used to it. Probably won't get used to it for quite some time. What was your favourite WrestleMania 30 entrance? I did like Bray Wyatt. So I thought that was pretty cool with the way they had the band kind of merging with the characters and stuff.
I'm going to have to give it, even though... Again, I love Triple H. I'm going to have to give it to the Wyatt because the way they presented it and then them coming down, the theme being sung. The only point with Orton, I'm going to say, it wasn't the accuser, you know, when they did on the video package building up to WrestleMania. It was done by the singer. But other than that, I'm going to give it to Bray Wyatt.
I mean, Triple H's we've kind of seen before, haven't we? So we can't really say that. We've seen that many times before. What was better? WrestleMania 30 or the Raw after? This is interesting. I think WrestleMania 30 will be more memorable simply because of the streak ending. But the Raw after WrestleMania had its moments as well.
I'm going to say Raw because, yes, you've had the Undertaker streak finishing, which is going to be a sad thing going on to next year. But Raw because of Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, of course, yes. Ultimate Warrior's, I mean, yes, of course, I totally forgot about that. Ultimate Warrior's last Raw before he died the day afterwards. So, but does that mean the show was better?
Not better, but obviously that you're gonna
memorable,
but better. I think that Raw kicked off many great things. So you could say Raw, even though the memorable stuff will happen on both nights.
I still say WrestleMania 30. I think the first hour was fantastic, and obviously Undertaker streak ending, Daniel Bryan winning the title. I think WrestleMania 30, even though Raw after WrestleMania was good as usual. Jersey 12361. Do you watch Outnumbered? I used to watch it when it first aired. I watched it and I did like it. I don't watch it particularly anymore, but I do appreciate the subtle writing there and the way it's done and the way what's his name? Hugh, I can't remember his name now, but he's on Mock the Week. Hugh Edwards or something like that. Yeah. The way he actually plays that role and the way the kids play the role and the way they ad-lib it is fantastic.
I do watch it. I'm not really good at remembering characters' names, hence when Dan was trying to remember, I struggled.
Huge.
But I do watch it. I love it. The Australian girl that's staying at the house, brilliant comedy there. I just want it to continue. It's brilliant.
It's the epitome of British comedy, isn't it? It's one of those programs that kind of defines British comedy. It's like, it's not all about the most outrageous joke. It's about how it's delivered. It's more about the subtlety and the quality of writing in these shows, which is one of the reasons why I think the program Frasier was so good, because of the quality of writing and the way the lines were delivered and everything. That was American. How many wrestling T-shirts do you guys have? Oh, God. You have got like 100.
107, 108.
107, 108 then. I've got a TNA Lockdown 2013 shirt. Kind of want to burn it right now, though. I've got an Austin Aries shirt, a Sting shirt, which I like. I've got a CM Punk shirt, a Cody Rhodes shirt, and that's it. I really want to get an NXT shirt, though. So, yeah, 5. I don't really invest much money in wrestling T-shirts because I have too many other V-neck style T-shirts elsewhere. And you're wearing one now. You probably noticed that NJ probably wears, like, every different shirt he's wore in, like, all the Q&As. So spot that next time you're watching a Q&A. He always wears a different shirt. Will Roman Reigns be in the Breakfast Club? You know, it's hard to tell. I mean, will he be one of those top guys for the WWE going forward? Probably. I mean, there's a good chance, but, you know, you see the way WWE have pushed guys before, and then they've gone there with them, and they've totally failed with the character. Who really knows? Can anyone get in the Breakfast Club? Is Daniel Bryan in the Breakfast Club after his Superman appearance at WrestleMania 30 this year?
Even though Sheamus' build started off bad, but then he managed to get.
He's in the Brunch Club, though, definitely, because he's Triple H's lifting buddy. So he's in the Brunch Club.
I'd say with Roman Reigns, because of Vince, he's got the Vince package. I know Triple H is eventually going to take over, But if Triple H ends up liking him more, I don't see why he wouldn't give him a key into his club.
And hopefully, the Breakfast Club. Hopefully, Roman Reigns will be put over by Triple H at SummerSlam. That's what I'm hoping. The Brony Assassin 167. Would you rather stab yourself 89 times or watch a 5-hour Iron Man match between the Great Khali, Bautista, and 2019 Hulk Hogan and Festus? Yeah, I'd probably rather watch the match. I don't really want to die.
Random number 89, okay, but I go with the match because, to be honest, even though Khali's slow, Batista's not that bad,
Bautista.
And Hogan, 2019 Hogan.
Would be awesome to see him do the leg drop again and then just like basically cripple himself in the ring.
So we'll go with the match.
I bet the Schleg Daddy would have a laugh out of that one, wouldn't it? I mean, add Psycho Sid to it, you know the Schleg Daddy would be rolling on the floor in laughter that night. And the most important question of all, do you like pie?
Poontang pie!
Poontang pie, bitch! I prefer cake. I don't really. I like pie. I don't mind pie. I just prefer more sweeter versions of pie like cake. That's my answer to that question. 5 Knockley. Why did WWF decide to de-push Kurt Angle by making him job to Austin on Raw 15 days after he won it at Unforgiven? I don't remember this because I just wasn't really keeping up to date at that point in time. They de-pushed Kurt Angle? I don't remember them de-pushing Kurt Angle all that much. To have him job to Austin, that's not really a de-push because Austin was probably the top guy at the time. Especially if this was 2001 and it was the Kurt Angle and Austin alliance versus WWF feud.
I can't remember too much about this. Unforgiven.
Austin. It would have been 2001 because that's when Austin. I'm pretty sure that's when Austin and Angle had that match when it was WWF Championship on the line in the alliance versus WWF storyline.
Well, I'm pretty sure that didn't kill the feud, so hopefully Angle got his revenge. I can't remember, but
Angle was a star anyway, so it didn't really de-push him all that much, did it?
No.
Exactly. And then he went to TNA. Would you form an IWC stable with OTRS and Alexman and call yourselves the Lords of Wrestling? No, because we already have an IWC stable that's called the British Fist that's better than all them lot put together. So we don't need to be joining. We don't need to be joining any factions because we're the top faction. Just saying. Deco5757. Is there anything that can happen in wrestling for you to fully block it out of your life forever?
No.
I mean, even if the company finished and there was no more Raw, I'd probably still watch old wrestling because, you got DVDs and all that kind of shit.
Like I've said many times, there's not been a time in my life that I've tuned out of wrestling, gave up on it. And we've gone through the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're probably still going to go through that. But I don't see the WWE throwing something at me that's going to make me go against the company.
Is there anything that can happen in wrestling? I mean, in personal life, I guess I could get married, have kids, and just not really be able to watch wrestling and stay up because I have more responsibilities and work hours and stuff. That's from a personal standpoint. But it depends what WWE and TNA are doing or what Global Force Wrestling might be doing in the future. But I highly doubt it. Even if it does get to the point, I will still watch it sporadically, just as a means to watch something on TV.
The wrestlers who are involved in wrestling have the bright idea. They're not marrying outsiders. They're marrying people in the company so they can continue watching it, doing it and stuff. Like with me, I'm not saying I'm going to marry a diva.
That would be awesome.
It would indeed.
But you're going to marry a wrestling fan, are you?
There's a chance, but if not, I still have my NJ time to watch wrestling,
Your NJ time to watch wrestling?
Watch wrestling.
Do you mean watch Lita and Trish Stratus matches?
Lita.
Why doesn't the IWC know that not every bloody superstar can be pushed? I think this stems more from the fact that the IWC just want a little bit of A, consistency, and B, some new stars with the company, which is why when guys get pushed like Ryback and then get de-pushed, they get a bit annoyed because they see the potential there for WWE to create some kind of top star, which they crave for, and then they just never really go there. So I can kind of understand, but I do know what you mean. Not every guy can be pushed. Someone's got to do the job. Someone's got to lose.
There's a big part of me that doesn't want the WWE to push everyone eventually to the main event because that's how we lose mid-carders, tag teams, because they all feel, right, we need to build up main eventers. Yes, that's their goal, to earn all that money and become the top, but it's good to still have the mid-carders that we can get behind.
It's always good to have a fan in the mid-card, isn't it? Howard Starr, what silly gimmick would you give each of the Shield as individuals? Well, to be honest, I see where you're coming from here. It's like, are WWE just going to split them up and then just shit on them? Well, the way they push them and the way they're pushing them now, they're really pushing them as a big deal. So I don't see WWE making too many errors. Although we know what WWE's track record is like. Obviously, you'd push Seth Rollins as the Jeff Hardy high-risk-taking babyface. You would push Dean Ambrose as a Brian Pillman loose cannon, and you'd push Roman Reigns as a monster babyface. I think it's pretty simple.
I think they've got their career set out. I think it'll be themselves who slip up, like Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins could go down a drug route and mess up their push and stuff, while Roman Reigns is like, I'm on my own.
Roman Reigns is actually, no, I'm on steroids. Bye!
Oh, yes.
I'll be careful not to go on the Nancy Grace show. Fucking hell. Anyway, why don't they let Natalya hold the Divas title? They misused her when they gave her the farting gimmick and had her team with the Great Khali. Yeah, it's a shame, because they did feed her a load of shit and you made her eat it. It would have been nice for her to win the title, but Paige winning was better. I'm sorry.
As much as I give it to Paige, because Paige stepping in, becoming champion and building up a fan base like that is brilliant. Natalya, I still felt they could have had AJ as a top heel and Natalya as a top base feud and actually made it happen and made it work. But it is a shame when Natalya is now become.
Yeah, she's actually more prominent on NXT than she is on WWE TV now. Why is it better to give a dancing gimmick to a black guy rather than a fat guy? Because Vince McMahon probably perceives black guys as really good dancers.
I'm going to say no. Rikishi.
Well,
watch your mouth.
Brodus Clay, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess the whole reason why they give the dancing gimmick to a fat guy is because it's something quite humorous and something that people can laugh at. Unless it's Rikishi, you can take it a little bit more seriously. But yeah, these dancing gimmicks, they're getting passed around like AJ Lee, aren't they, right now in the backstage area? CM Punk, my ass. The $2.99. Who was the better wrestler, Andre or Big Show? I would say personally Big Show, because I think at the end of his career, Andre was really suffering from a lot of injuries, which was caused by I believe he had a tumor or something like that. Whereas Big Show is an incredibly gifted athlete for his size. I think out of those two, Big Show was the better wrestler, but Andre will always be remembered more and would be the better legend, in my opinion.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think Andre is secured to be above Big Show in ways as being the most respected and the top guy. But Big Show, in wrestling-wise, I felt as the wrestling business has changed over the years, the way of wrestling has changed. It's been past the Big Show, and he's adapted and he's gotten better to where Andre didn't get the full job.
I mean, to be honest, if you look at like an Andre the Giant match, I mean, it's not about the matches, it's not about match quality, it's about the characters and, selling tickets and stuff. But at the end of the day, what other 7 foot, 450, 500 pound guys have you seen take bumps like Big Show? Or, do moves like Big Show, or move around in the ring like Big Show, or have the stamina of a Big Show, apart from maybe like a Yokozuna or something, who wrestled 2 matches at WrestleMania fucking 10, by the way. So I would definitely say Big Show on that one. Thunder Night 19. Is there any particular WWE or TNA wrestler the IWC loves that you're not a fan of? For me, it's Dolph Ziggler, because while he's a great wrestler, I find his character very bland. Oh, there are a couple.
I've got one.
Go on. Santino. I thought you love Santino.
Is the question who we like or don't like?
Who we don't like, who you're not a fan of. Go on.
Right, who I don't like. Now I've lost it now. People who the internet's a fan
The
of.
internet is a fan of. So let's say like a Chris Sabin or an Austin Aries or a Bobby Roode, or in WWE you could say Dolph Ziggler, CM Punk. For me, I guess it would be Chris Sabin. I've never really got Chris Sabin. Also, Corey Graves. People go on about Corey Graves, but in NXT, I just don't get it. I don't mind Dolph Ziggler, but I think the IWC overrates him so much because they just concentrate on wrestling ability. Any others you can think of?
I'm a fan of Ziggler.
None of us, really.
No.
If you can't think of any, then don't worry about it. So thank you once again for tuning in to another Q&A with us, the British Fist. Please make sure you keep sending us in questions. We do need your questions. If we want to continue the most fun video we do every week, we need you guys to input on it. And if you'll get a shout out and stuff. So that's good, right?
People power! I've got Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Continue sending the questions. Until next time, tune in for the rest of the week. And good. Bye.